the 2 fall sports banquets that we'll have this week. Tonight, of course, is looking back and celebrating the individual and team accomplishments for football. I'll change batteries here in a minute because I think that's what it is. Anyway, celebrating the accomplishments of football teams and players, but also cheer and dance. And then later this week we'll do the other fall sports. So I want to welcome you guys here tonight. We're going to start out by eating, which is what everybody really came here for. But before we do that, Nathan, did you bring your big boy voice?
I did.
I want to invite Mr. Nathan Johnson to the podium. Give you our prayer.
Let's all bow our heads. Dearly Father God, right now I pray, Jesus, and I just thank you so much, Lord, for allowing us to be able to gather here tonight, God, and honor, God, and just celebrate the accomplishments, Lord, that we were able to have, God, because of you. Jesus, God, I just pray, Lord, that you just continue to be with us, God, as we go into different sports, different seasons, Lord. God, I just pray, God, that you allow us to continue to find success in our sports, God, success in the classroom, Lord. God, that you just be with us for the rest of the year. Lord God, I pray, Lord, that you bless the food in the hands that prepare it, and let it all touch your body. It's in your son's beautiful and precious name. Everybody said, Amen.
You have to write it down. He's that good. Okay, so the head table will eat first. And this is where I make lots of friends and enemies at the same time. So, the table who is randomly picked to eat first is table 3. Then table 2. Table 4. And table 1. Alright, so the table go ahead and go up.
We're going to go ahead and get started. Really quickly, before we introduce the coaches up here, I want to take just a minute to thank Jordan Mueller and her kitchen staff for preparing the meal tonight. So how about a nice round of applause for them? And the chicken and the cookies brought to us from Country Mart, and Jordan and her staff took care of the rest. So they do a great job, provide a great meal, something to look forward to every banquet. I also want to take just a second to thank our booster officers. We have several men and women who volunteer their time. They don't get paid anything to do it. They come to booster meetings. They set up concessions at all of our home events. I email them a lot to ask them if they want to buy things for teams, to pick scholarship winners. They just do a lot, and again, it's all on a volunteer basis just because they care about kids. Those booster officers are Amanda Bly, make sure I don't miss anybody here, Andrea Fritsch, Rob Coleman, Christy Fleeman, and Deanne Squires. So thank you to those 5 booster officers. There's a whole lot more thank yous, but I think the coaches will cover most of those. So at this time, we'll go ahead and introduce who we have up here at the head table. I'll start to my far left. We've got our assistant cheer coach, Lori Dunn. Next to her is our head cheer coach, Laura Geck. To her right is our new Emeralds coach, Jacqueline Oshner. Did I pronounce that right? Oshner? Okay, I can spell it too. That's tough. All right. To her right is our defensive coordinator, Tyson Roth. To my immediate left, assistant football coach, Cody Schwent. Over to the right side, right next to me here, is our head football coach, Jay Pope. To his right, assistant football coach, Blake Moore. To his right, our offensive coordinator, Kellen Bosler. Assistant football coach, Adam Sherry. And assistant coach, Kenny Rapp. And to his right is the one who makes all the decisions on Friday night, Tristan Rapp, one of our managers. All right, so we're going to go with cheer first. We're going to have Coach Gatt come up and talk about their season, and we're going to follow that with Emeralds and finish the night with football. So at this time, I want to welcome Coach Laura Gatt to the podium.
Thanks for everyone that came out tonight, for all the athletes that are here. I want to send a big thank you to the parents, not just of my own team, but all the parents. It was nice to see throughout the season. My girls were always like, those football players are well fed. So they noticed. So anyways, the girls, another thank you out to Lori for kind of picking up where I couldn't. And Jacqueline has been great to work with this year. We've done a lot between the Emeralds and the cheerleaders, so that's been excellent. And this guy right here answers all the questions, even when he says, I don't know, go ask somebody else. So, a little bit about cheer. The season is super long. I think a lot of people don't realize it, but these girls try out in February of last school year, and their season just ended. So, very long season, and we started the year with 14 girls. Unfortunately, ended with 11, but they were 11 fantastic girls. I've always had a motto whenever I go to tryouts that I'm more looking for quality over quantity. That says a lot about these girls, and the fact that there was 27 girls that tried out. So to take these girls out of that is fantastic. A little highlights from our season. We started out after tryouts, definitely getting ready for camp over the summer. These girls go to a 4-day super intense camp, starting the day sometimes at 6 o'clock with them knocking on my door, can you braid my hair, to ending the night at 10 o'clock meetings in the dorm rooms. Super long days, and they're crabby by the end, but they come back with a lot of things for our school, from cheers to chants to stunts, dances. This year bringing back a new band chant, which our band was able to incorporate on Friday nights. Being there at camp, there's a lot of really big schools compared to us. So they withstand that and still go out there. Their team was nominated as the most improved team at camp out of 27 teams there, which is fantastic. With that, they have to compete there in chants, cheers, band chants, bringing home 2 superior ribbons and an outstanding ribbon. So good job to them as a team at camp. That's impressive. Individual awards at camp, girls can be nominated to try out for the All-American cheer team. We had 6 girls that are here tonight that were nominated to try out for that team. Trying out for that team entails trying out in front of the entire gym of all the cheerleaders there, parents. It's super intimidating. So I will mention those girls. We had Elena Shimo, Sophia Jarouche, Ruthie Dunn, Mariah Apt, Savannah Jarouche, and Lana Gagg, all trying out for the All-American team. So give them a round of applause. The season went off with a hit. It was nice to have homecoming a little bit later, gave us a little bit more time to prep, so we thought, until we had 2 girls out with concussions that kind of put a damper on what we wanted and could do. Thanks to Jacqueline, she put together a dance that we could do together. Wanted to incorporate more stunting in that, but due to the lack of practice with being able to stunt with some of our girls, that didn't happen, but it still wound out fantastic. The girls we had were super eager to learn a lot of new stunts. They were excited. I heard all the time, we've never done this before. How do we do that? But with that, stunting is hard. People don't realize lifting girls over your head, that's intimidating. Comes with a lot of frustration. Who can do this? Who can sub in? Who can make this work? It takes a lot of check, try, and revise. So lots of frustration, lots of tears, but the girls never gave up and always wanted to try to do harder and harder stunts, which was exciting on Friday nights for them to get to show everyone. Let's see. So I'm going to bring the girls up to present them with their varsity letters. All of them lettered this year. It's a little different for cheer because we're at every varsity event, so they're not on the bench. So I'm going to bring them up, my two seniors, Sophia Darush, Elena Schimmel. We had 6 juniors, Mariah App, Hannah Ahrens, Savannah Darush, Ruthie Dunn, Megan Jarvis, and Haley Wheeler. And we had no sophomores, but 3 freshmen to come up here, Kennedy Bowen, Lana Gegg, and Kaylin Warren. So this is your 11 Friday night Lights cheerleaders. We do have a few individual awards. Coach Dunn and I discussed it wasn't easy to choose who was going to receive these individual awards because all the girls standing up here deserved an award. So narrowing that down was not always easy. Going to start with the Hardest Worker Award. This award was maybe the hardest to choose because every one of them came in and worked hard. We kind of had to think outside the box, and the cheerleader that we felt like went and worked the hardest, not just in practice, but out of practice. She went home, learned things, practiced things, was willing to come back and teach others. I'd like to present the Hardest Worker Award to Hannah Ahrens. The next award goes to our cheerleader that exemplifies outstanding jumps. Jumps do not come easy and they do not come overnight, and getting these girls to understand that is not easy. It takes a lot of practice, not just in our practice, but outside of that also. But just ask the girls what happens if they don't jump after a cheer. Their jumps get better the next game. Our outstanding jump award goes to Lana Gegg. And the next award we have is a technique award. This cheerleader was chosen because when we're at practice and there's something not going right, all I have to do is say, hey, try this, do this. And she never balks at it. She does exactly what I ask of her and will do whatever it is, whether that is to side base, whether that's just spot, or sometimes put her in the air. The technique award goes to Savannah Darush. And the next award is our Miss Spirit Award. This award goes to a cheerleader who exemplifies spirit on Friday nights or throughout the season, wanting to bring new ideas of how to incorporate the spirit crowd, or even with Little Brinley, just being excited to be at the games, and that goes to Miss Ruthie Dunn. And our last award is our Miss Cheerleader Award. This is kind of an award that is just all around. It's not always just about skill. When we were discussing trying to decide who our Miss Cheerleader was, we were looking more at someone who showed a lot of leadership this year. This cheerleader came to me and multiple times said, can we do this? Can we do this? This is what we did last year. If I had questions, this is who I went to. I could rely on her to make sure that we had what we needed, and all we had to do was ask. What are we doing for timeouts? Miss Sophia Dirge. Congratulations to all these girls, and thank you for a great season. Thanks to Miss Dunn for also helping out, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the girls on Friday nights. It's nice to see them out supporting all the football players. So that's your fall. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Coach. Congratulations to those young ladies. Coach Gacker mentioned that the Emeralds and the cheerleaders did a dance together this year, and they worked really well together. And that's really awesome. I've been here for 23 years or so, and I can tell you that it wasn't always like that. Those two groups used to butt heads and not like each other, and the past few years it's not been that way. And it's really nice to see the coaches and the girls work really well together. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and invite Coach Oshner up to the podium to talk about the Emeralds. So you're up.
Hi. Okay, our season started last May, I think it was, maybe April. We had tryouts. And we got busy right away with planning a summer dance camp for kindergarten through 6th graders. So during the summer, the girls worked really hard, 3 days, and we had 50 come out to that. So that was super fun. They just did a lot of games, dancing, crafts. And we also went to a summer dance camp, much like cheer did. It was 4 days. The girls had very long hours. 14-hour days at least. They learned maybe, I don't know, 5-6 dances each. And they would perform those in front of everybody. They were judged, and we brought a lot of those dances home. That's what we did for each Friday football game, and we're even taking some of those into the basketball season as well. So that camp really paid off for all of us, and I think it helped the girls learn a lot of different technique and new skills, and getting them ready to perform. Another highlight of our football season was our little gym dance clinic, and that brought out 99 dancers, which was amazing. We had 3 days with them, so we taught them a little routine, and then they performed at a Friday night football game beforehand. And of course, another highlight is homecoming, and the girls always have fun with that, going to all of the assemblies to perform at. Again, working with cheer, and we had a lot of fun along the way. My thank yous go out to the Emerald parents for supporting your girls and me as we navigate through our first season together, and I think it went really well. And then of course to Dr. Nix, because I think I probably emailed and texted him multiple times a day, just with new questions that I had. So all in all, everything went super great this season, and I'm excited for more to come. I'm going to call all the girls up here, and all of the girls lettered, so they will get those awards, and then I will talk about each of the girls a little bit individually and pass out the 2 awards that I have for this team. So girls, if you would come up, that would be great. Okay, first I'll talk about our senior, Paris Boyd. Paris has grown a lot this season in her dance abilities. She takes on a lot and has shown us that when you love something, you work hard for it. She's setting a great example for her own daughter this way. Paris has always been quick to help whenever she can, and sometimes is more on top of things than I was. She's been a great member for this team, and we wish her luck in her future. And then Paris gets a palm and certificate for lettering. Next, we have Kristen Whittu. So before I met Kristen, I send out teacher evaluations, and that goes into their tryout process. And one of her teachers said about her, she is a ray of sunshine. And I couldn't agree more. So she's always keeping us laughing and staying true to who she is. She's tough on herself at times, but I know that only makes her stronger. She's been a great leader and shows us what a true performer looks like. And Kristen, you can get your certificate and letter. Our other junior is Sophie Vogt. She could not be here with us tonight, but Sophie has been amazing this season. This was her first year on Emerald. She is our go-to girl anytime we need help learning a new skill or a demonstration. She shines bright on and off the field, and we're happy she is with us this year. And Sophie will get an award as well that I will discuss later. One of our sophomores is Sophie Garcia. She stood out to me right away at tryouts last spring when she asked to record me performing the tryout dance so she could go home and practice. After I let her record me, I thought, oh my gosh, she's gonna TikTok this to the whole school. But that is not who Sophie is, and she's continuously shown me she is someone I can count on and the team can count on. She works hard and takes critiques as a way to better herself, and we love Sophie for that and pushing us during warm-up. So congratulations, Sophie on better. Our next sophomore is Olivia Kirshner. Olivia has amazed me with her dedication to this team and the hard work she puts in to better herself. She has grown a lot since I first met her last spring. Olivia is willing to learn new dances, make up dances, host team get-togethers, and does a lot behind the scenes for her team and for me. She keeps the mood light and fun and is the first to step up to the plate when I need a hand. Congratulations, Olivia. And last but not least, our freshman is Jersey Quinn. She is our only freshman this year and has adapted so well with this team. She has a quiet confidence about her, and I can't wait to watch her continue to shine and grow in the years to come. Jersey never says no to trying something new when it comes to a new trick or skill. She may give me a side eye sometimes at first, but she always tackles it with perfection. I'm proud of Jersey this season for giving it her all. So congratulations, Jersey, on lettering your first season of Emerald. And then I have 2 awards to give out, and the first one goes to Olivia Kirshner for Most Improved Dancer. Olivia's worked super hard this year, and without having a ton of dance background, you couldn't tell it. She's been great. And the other award is the Precision Performance Award. And this is just all around amazing dancer, technique, performance skills. And that goes to our Sophie Vogt, who is not here with us tonight. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Just cover real quick how we're going to do this. I'll do some thank yous here. Coach Smith's going to come up and talk about the 9-10 JV season. I'll talk about the varsity season a little bit. We'll cover individual awards, and then we'll talk about the seniors. We're going to make this as efficient as possible. Kyle Splice set the over-under at 7:30 as far as getting out of here, so I said the under. So we're going to try to fly through this thing. So for thank yous, there's not enough time to thank everybody that is responsible for this, helping this program be successful. I try to highlight the ones that came to my mind the most. I know I'm going to forget people, so forgive me if I do. The all sports boosters, all the sponsors, all the donors, people that give and give and give in our community so we can have everything we need to make this program successful. Next, Dr. Nix, like these other folks have said, I bug this guy all day, every day. In fact, the one day he was in the hospital and he was still answering my calls. I didn't know anything about it, but whatever. But the amount of time and work this guy does, he doesn't get enough credit. Coach Jess Ballard, she's our school PT type person. Anytime we have injuries, little nicks and bruises, we send our kids to her first. She evaluates them and gives us a really good idea as coaches what we need to do next. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about health, and she's always handled all that stuff. She doesn't get a lot of money for it. She does it out of the kindness of her heart most of the time. We can't thank her enough for that. In that same vein, Tyler Brown doesn't miss a game. He doesn't get paid to help us. I can't think of a time that he has missed in the past 3 years that I've been here. And his willingness to work with our kids, his passion for our football team, the passion for our kids' health, we can never thank him enough for what he does. And again, that's all on a volunteer basis. All the media that covers the program throughout the year, there's a whole bunch of them. I won't name them all. Rabbit Tomier, he travels with us to every game, holds himself to every game. I don't know how many people know this. Last spring or summer, he had some health concerns come up, and we weren't sure if he was going to be able to stick with us. And to true Rabbit fashion, when I called him, I won't say what he said because it's not appropriate for children, but he agreed that he was going to stick with us, and we're happy he did. And I apologized to him after that Dexter game because we put him through 3 games this year that were 1-point decisions, and with a guy with a heart that's not 100%, I have to apologize and make sure that we try our best to keep pulling him along. But I think Mason Nix actually took him out in one of our games too this year. I remember I don't remember which assistant went to help him up, but he said, "Just let me lay here for a couple minutes. I need to catch my breath." But there's few people that volunteer and help our program like Rabbit does, and his passion, it can't put into words. Bump Soul, Chain Crew, all the booth guys, Paul Aarons that does our game clock, everybody that helps our games at home operate. We couldn't do this thing without all those people taking time out of their Fridays to help us. The Emeralds and the cheerleaders, we go to some of these away games, and the stadiums are all different. That's one of the fun things about high school sports, and so many venues are different. I remember being down at Kelly, and the sidelines were what they were. They were so tight. I swear there was one time out I turned around and I think I was talking to the cheerleaders and not the actual team. So thank them for all the energy they bring every Friday night, keeping our energy up too. All the parents, guardians, we were well aware that we ask a lot out of your children, and your willingness to let us do that. Football, I feel like, is one of the last hard things that young men get to experience, and we make it harder for the sake of doing hard things. We ask them to be here at 5:30 over the summer. That's not easy. It's hard. And the transportation, the logistics, all the stuff behind the scenes that you have to deal with, we know is a tall ask, but nobody's ever complained. And I completely thank you, all the coaches, thank you for that, and allowing us to be a part of your child's season. In that same vein, the parents that fed us after every game, there was a lot of volunteers that went in that, but it was headed by Beth Ron and Becky Schweiger. Tremendous job getting us fed every Friday before and after games, on Mondays before and after JV games. In fact, my wife thanks you because I don't eat during football season. I don't know how many times I ate leftover sandwiches out of the fridge. They might have been 3 weeks old. They still take it to break. So I appreciate you guys for that. And lastly, a thank you from myself to all the assistant coaches up here. These guys put in so much time and effort. A lot of it goes unseen. I don't know how many people know that Coach Moore didn't come to town, didn't physically move to town until district started. He was driving back and forth from St. Charles starting June 1st. And you know, that's not a testament to somebody's passion about this deal we have here. I think what his actions did speak volumes, and all these guys up here have a story like that, which, you know, they wouldn't be up here if they didn't love helping your kids. And then the next step above that, I want to thank their wives and their children. I think they sacrifice the most, and you know, I didn't really understand that till this year, having my own child, and the dedication it takes to miss things. I can't think their spouses and children enough, because without these guys, we wouldn't be able to give what these guys deserve. So thank all those people for our success this year. Up next, I'm going to have Coach Schwint come up and talk about the 9-10 JV season. After that, we'll talk about the varsity season a little bit, and then we'll go through some individual recognitions.
All right, well, Coach Schweiss promised me to cut the money with him, so I'm going to be pretty long-winded tonight. First, I'm going to call the 9-10 players up here. I'm going to rattle you guys off. You're going to all want to line up and cover me up so I don't feel so out in the open here. Anthony Aft, Jay Samster, Sawyer Bowman, Eli Bennett, Brandon Beckett, Matt Bodine. Come on, boys. Cole Brace, Ian Cairns, Dylan Cash, Connor Dorenkamp, Carson Fowler, John Finley, Jarrett Gallup, Wyatt Grind, Nick Gross, Jonathan Hacker, Jarrett Everly, Troy Hurst, Caden Manning, Charles Mees, Drake Meyer, Alex O'Brien, Ethan Ottens, Will Parker, Tristan Peterson, Talon Pinkley, Owen Roth, Justin Schweigert, Jackson Slate, Justin Slinkard, Chase Thompson, Cam Boat, Parker Warren, Trent Weber, Jet Wybrick, Bryce Whitener, Brody Winters, and Madden Wolf. Did I miss anybody? Yeah, I wish Paul Taylor. Yeah. We would be 7-0 if those two were playing. All right, so I wanted to start again by thanking my family for sacrificing my time with them to allow me to keep coaching these young men. I told Dr. Nix earlier on Saturday morning after I got back from hunting, I said, well, guys, football's over. And I said it sadly, and my 4 little ones went, yay! So that wasn't really the response I was looking for, but they were sure happy to have me this week. So I want to also thank Coach Moore and Coach Rapp for making sure I didn't completely embarrass myself at times, and for having one of the best defenses I've had as a JV coach. We went 3-4 on the season, and each one of our wins came in shutout fashion. I've never had that happen before. I think the most I've ever had in a season was 2. So our defense, kudos to you. You guys really were awesome. Many of our final scores didn't show just how close we were in all of our games. Reflecting back on the season, our defense kept us at a 1-score game at halftime in all of our games, which was really, really impressive. This whole season was pretty difficult experience offensively with switching up quarterbacks, because our sophomore quarterback is our varsity starter, and the freshman quarterback that they had the past 2 years is no longer with us. So I want to thank, he's no longer here. He's still alive. Thank you for that. I want to thank this whole team for being super coachable throughout all of the offensive changes we worked throughout the season. These guys did an awesome job with how much they helped out with scout team for our varsity, but that was sacrificing time to get reps that we needed JV wise. But they did a great job. Anytime we had time, they put in 100%. Anytime we had a chance to rep it out. So through QB changes and scheme changes and that lack of time was really impressive to turn out 3-4. And quite honestly, a couple of those games could have went either way. So I usually don't with the JV squad single people out, but there was just a handful of moments this season that I really wanted to point out because I think it's really important for this crew's future to think about. The first one I wanted to talk about was Cam Vogt. Cam, step forward a little bit. Where's Cam at? All right, so as you can see, physically just a menace. Last year at one point, I had to come up to him the next day at school after a game and apologize to him because we were rotating people in and he didn't get in the game at all. And that hurt. Cam was an advisory kid for me last year and just a wonderful human being. But he said, it's okay, coach, and he was totally understanding and we moved forward from that moment. But this year, Cam was arguably our best defensive player. He has a motor that just doesn't quit. That hard work almost turned into a kick return touchdown in a varsity game. This guy works just so hard every day, and I can't say how much we appreciate it. Good job, Cam. Ian Karen, step forward. Ian was also someone who did not start on offense or defense as a freshman. And he found himself as a backup again this year for most of the season. But he never complained, and at the end of the Central game, he got in, and I'm talking, this may have been 4 plays at the end of the game. And I think he made a tackle on 3 out of those 4 plays. We went into the next game figuring out our defense, and it was like he deserved a start. He ended up being the hero of that game, and started after that. Ian's a perfect example of a kid who made the most of his opportunity without complaining when he wasn't getting a shot. Freshmen, you need to look up, especially to these 2 guys. Guys who didn't get a lot of playing time as freshmen and became starters as sophomores. Many of you would be 2-way starters if we rolled out a freshman team this year. And I think that's important for you guys to remember. My next guy, Owen Roth. So if you went to any of our JV games, Owen's a really explosive player. When we rolled to a different offense and we went to double wing, Owen struggled a little bit in practice, and I actually completely took him off offense. And I think he was upset, but he never got upset at me. He got upset about the situation. But against Fredericktown, when we went to this offense, somebody went down and Owen went in. And he didn't make one mistake in that game. And that told me, even though he was pulled out, he kept watching what was happening. He never complained to me about getting more reps or anything. He kept watching the offense. And he was a big reason why we won that game. So, Owen, I really appreciated that. And it was another example of just working hard to make your situation better. Good job. Lastly, Justin Slinker. This guy just goes about everything the right way, day in and day out.
He always asks the right questions. Like, they always have meaning. It's not something you're ever repeating, and it helps the whole team. He never, ever, 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 ever complains. There's many instances and some really awesome things. Well, go ahead and this is for the group. I just had to point out Justin. He was the quarterback for our last game, and he did a great job. So give Justin a hand. There are many other instances of some really awesome things that are going on with this group, and they really embody what it means to be loyal and true. This group of sophomores and freshmen on this team are very special, and if they work hard and get stronger, this coaching staff expects some really amazing things in the future for these guys. Good job, guys.
I'm not going to have the varsity guys come up. You guys can just stay where you're at. We'll bring the seniors up here in a little bit, talk about them individually, but I just want to kind of recap our varsity season as a whole. You know, this was our first time back in the district championship in a few years, and we truly believe that that's where we belong each and every year. Reflecting back on, you know, my own personal career, as I came up, there was only 2 seasons since 2009 that I hadn't been in that game, and it's because I was working for the worst head coach I worked for, and it was myself the past 2 years before this one. So I think that's the expectation we have of the program as far as results oriented. These guys worked extremely hard again over the summer. You know, one of the first days I asked a few of the seniors what their goal was, you know, what they wanted out of this deal from a results standpoint, and the consensus was we want to compete for a district title. And they earned that right, and we're very proud of that portion of it. But I'm a big believer. My philosophy is, you know, if we just get these guys prepared to be successful for the maximum of 15 nights out of the year, we're failing as coaches. So we put a strong emphasis on the stuff you don't see on the scoreboard, on the stuff that you know, doesn't show up in any stats columns. And you know, there's really no good way to evaluate that. The best I could come up with was reflecting back to the pillars of our program. Coach Roth, when he came in spring, we kind of sat down together and revamped, you know, what the focus and foundation of this thing needs to be outside of X's and O's, outside of scheme, all that stuff. And we came up with the acronym FIRE, F-I-R-E. Stands for Fellowship, Integrity, Resilience, and Energy. So evaluating this team and this season, I kind of stood and looked at those 4 letters and what they meant, and how these teams, how this team lived up to it. So starting with the F, the fellowship. You know, coming into the season, you know, the senior group especially, and some of the younger groups, these guys get pulled in so many different directions. You know, I think we counted up, there's like 5 or 6 different baseball teams these guys play on all summer, so they're all going different directions. They're getting pulled, you know, we got all sorts of summer camps. So we felt like this group wasn't as connected as previous groups, and so no fault of their own. They just, like I said, get pulled in different directions. And one of our big emphasis coming in is before these guys leave here, we want them to be brothers. We want them to have that fellowship. And I think if you looked at where we started, late spring, early summer, and then if you looked at where we were Friday night with the hugs and I love yous, I think we got an A+ in that category. The way these guys grew to love each other, and, you know, lived up to our motto of the we, not me, and putting others first. So in regard to the fellowship, I think we did a great job. Going to the I, the integrity, you know, it's hard to gauge that. I went back and looked the past 2 seasons. I think we were over a dozen kids in ISS throughout the season. And I looked at this season, and I think from 9 to 12, grades 9 to 12, we had 2 in 4 months. So I think that speaks volumes to these guys' character and their growth as human beings and not just as football players. The next one, R, for resilience. I think if you looked at our schedule and saw some of the games and results that we played, you can't tell me that these guys weren't resilient. You know, we had 2 one-point wins, and it really came down to them last play of the game, standing up and overcoming adversity. You know, it's a testament to these guys and their willingness to be successful. I don't know that it's anything we gave them. I don't think that anybody can stand up here and say, I'm good at adversity, watching how a clock runs when it's not supposed to, or when it's stopped when it's supposed to be running. So I'm thankful that these guys are getting that from mostly their parents, teachers, and other role models. So in regards to resilience, I think these guys handled adversity super well and super proud. And then the last phase, the E, the energy, the thing that stands out to me as a coach, having done this for so many years, you can tell a lot about a football player, how he plays the game when he doesn't have the ball in his hand. So what that means is when he's blocking for somebody else, the linemen have to do it every play. It's what's asked of them. But the skill guys, it goes back to the motto we had, we not me. All these guys were selfless. There were so many plays that we were so proud as a staff, because there was guys 30, 40, 50, 70 yards downfield blocking. Jack Farlow had a ton, Tucker Reed had a ton, Aiden Meyer had a ton. Every guy that was out there was busting his butt when he didn't have the ball in his hand because of the love of his brother. And then when they did score, they brought that energy, that positive energy, and had fun and celebrated someone else's success and not just their own. So when you look at the season in that light, we think it was super successful, and we hope, especially you seniors, that you leave here with that fire, take that into the rest of your life. So moving forward, we want to talk about the seniors individually and talk about our season awards. Some people still don't understand what all the awards are, so I'll cover them real fast before we get started. Goon of the Year, or Goon of the Week. Goon is a term that a certain select group of people in our community that don't wear green call us. So instead of letting them use that as a derogatory term towards us, we embraced it as a positive image. So we define a goon as somebody that's an intimidating force and you wouldn't want to meet outside of a controlled football game. So that could be the hardest hitting defensive player of the week. It could be somebody that just, through how they play the sport, is super intimidating and you wouldn't want to go against them. The second one, Hog of the Year. Hog of the Week goes to the best lineman, defensive or offensively that week. The Hog term was stolen from the Gibbs Redskins from way back in the 80s. It's just whoever had the best game from the lineman position for that week or for the year. The Scout Team Player of the Week or year is just the person that doesn't necessarily get to play much during the varsity game, but did the best possible job making sure the varsity was prepared to be successful for the game of that week or in the totality of the season. And then the last one, we placed the biggest emphasis on, the Andrew Marzuko Loyal and True Award. Really, it goes to the highest character for the week or for the year. It can be a lot of things off the field. Just any kid that's out there doing great things for their program, the school, the community, we want to celebrate that. So that's the Andrew Marzuko Loyal and True. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to give out 2 awards, and then we'll start with our seniors. We only had 2 awards this year that did not go to seniors. So I want to start with a new one this year. We felt as a coaching staff it was much deserved. This young man did more than what he was asked, and more than anything, we felt he brought a lot of joy to this program. And the kids loved every second of having this young man around, and we felt it was necessary to give out a Manager of the Year award, and our Manager of the Year is going to be Kate Williams. So we don't have plaques yet since our season just ended like 4 days ago. We're going to get all these plaques to you guys here in a couple weeks when they come in. So the next one, again, not a senior, the Scout Team Player of the Year. We had a lot of guys that, lived up to this. If you're not familiar with football, Scout Team is literally the hardest thing that you can do. You get beat up by a varsity squad. This year we had a lot of seniors, so at times we had a lot of sophomores going against some elite guys, and it's hard, and it's not glorious. You don't get a lot of rewards out of it unless you're like an Ian Cairns or somebody that earns a spot off of that for a JV 9-10 game sort of deal. It takes a lot of courage to do it, and it takes a lot of grit. And again, we kind of had to go back and forth because we had so many guys deserving this year. But the guy we ended up going with probably took the brunt of our defense this season. He didn't even play this position coming into the season. We kind of just threw him into the fire because he said he would do anything asked of him to help the team be better. And he did that each and every week at practice. Our scout team player of the year is going to be Eli Bennett for scout team quarterback. Okay, so we'll go through seniors here individually. Each coach, kind of fought over who they wanted to talk about. I didn't feel it was fair for myself to stand up here and talk about 14 guys. Again, all these coaches up here pour themselves into these guys as if they were their own kids. So we kind of divvied it up so each coach could kind of talk about the player he felt most connected to, the two players, they felt the most bond with. And again, we had a fight over who got who, but first up will be Tucker Reed and Coach White, or Coach White.
All right. Please bear with me because out of the guys up here, I'd say I'm one of the most emotional, so I'm going to do my best. Tuck is about one of the most calming presences you will come across as a teammate. Well, as long as you aren't next to him when he's talking trash to himself. He likes to mumble things. He's always there, always knows exactly where everyone else should be and what they should be doing. I'm the wide receiver coach, and Tucker no doubt has the best hands on the team. I guess he's going to have to hand that claim of fame off to Chris moving forward. But it was very clear that anytime Aiden or Luke in the past couple of years got in a pressure situation, that they felt most comfortable finding Tuck and knowing he was going to catch it. His main side of the ball has always been offense, but he sure did a heck of a job defensively this year. It was a great example of how practicing hard can lead to more playing time. Tuck was basically just dominating on defense against our starting offense. We mixed it up, kind of made the best of offense and best of defense, and he embarrassed us one day when he went to the defensive side. So it was kind of undeniable from that point moving forward to not have him playing some defense this year also. And he did an awesome job anytime he went out there. Young guys, take a look at this guy. Tucker has never been the strongest or the fastest, but he has been one of the smartest. He has made sure to show up every day. He was always reliable anytime he threw him the ball. Actually, anytime in practice, if Tucker missed it, I think all of us were like, did Tucker just drop it? Like that just never happened. And he's been a quiet leader who just went about things the right way every single day. I'm going to miss having Tucker out there on offense, drive after drive, because he was a safety valve for me in getting everybody in the right position. It made my job really, really easy. Tucker, you made the program proud. I know by talking to your dad after games, you made him proud. And I know the one you had looking down on you sure as heck is proud of the player and man you are. Good luck in basketball season. I can't wait to watch you. And everything else you do in the future. You deserve it, bud.
All right, I'm going to talk about Mason next. The second year in a row, I get to talk about Mason. He was our Goon of the Year last year. you wouldn't think look at him, he's ugly and short and little. But what Mason brings, he was a 3-year starter for us. What Mason brought to the offense or to the defense this year, it was like having another coach out there. Just because he was so familiar with what we asked, so familiar with how our defense worked. There was a lot of times, even in practice, he made Coach Roth and myself look really smart, and it was just him being a really smart football player and getting other guys doing jobs. He didn't even really understand that that's why they were supposed to be doing it. So again, it was like having another coach out there, just with how smart and cerebral he was with our defense. And then, towards the middle part of the season, we kind of got in a bind with some injuries and some guys banged up. We asked him to play offense for us. And, he never really took a lot of reps through the summer offensively, so he was starting behind. But again, he's so passionate about this game, and he spent time studying and understanding what Coach Bosler and the offensive guys were asking from him when he got out there. And, when he did get out there at varsity on Friday nights on the offensive side, he excelled. And there were a couple key catches that if he wouldn't have been there, wouldn't have been willing to do that for his team, I don't know that we would have won those football games. So, more than anything, Mason's love for his teammates and his team and program and being willing to do whatever was asked of him is a trait that's rare. And we were so thankful to have him as a varsity starter for 3 years. But I think the thing that stands out the most, and it ties in completely to that, is how banged up Mason was throughout the year. He's got his brace on tonight. I think he played, the last 3 or 4 games with a beat-up shoulder. There's very few kids that would have continued to play. And we're so thankful that Mason did. But I don't think it was ever a question in his mind because, like I said, he's such a great teammate. And he's so passionate about football and about it, playing for others. And, that's a component that is going to be hard to replace. And I just want to thank you, Mason, for 3 outstanding years, and definitely.
So I don't think Wyatt's here, but we still got to talk about it. I've had the opportunity to know Wyatt for 8 years now. This senior group is the first group that I had as a teacher in 5th grade. So they were a special group to me. I know in 5th grade that Wyatt was going to be something special when, we played dodgeball, and I kind of had to quit the game because he's about to knock out a kid throwing the ball. And that's just who Wyatt was. He knew he was going to be a great athlete even at that young of an age. If you don't really know Wyatt, he was a very quiet individual until you got to know him and he actually started talking. He's not the type of kid that's a vocal leader, but he is somebody who's going to give it everything he had when he was out on the field, and he was going to lead by example. He may be one of the most competitive guys that I've been around. It didn't matter if we were doing 7-on-7, if we were doing inside run, or if it was 7 o'clock on a Friday night. You knew he was going to give it everything he had, and he was just that competitive of an individual. All year he battled an injury. Just a really tough kid, kind of worked through those injuries throughout the year, and you knew when Friday rolled around that Wyatt was going to play. You couldn't keep him out of the game because he was just that competitive of an individual. I think one thing that Wyatt took pride in was putting time in the weight room. So for you younger guys, I think it's very important. If Wyatt wasn't working, he's probably at the gym lifting. That's just who he was. And during the off season, he took pride in that and made himself the best that he could be. Wyatt's been a 3-year starter for us and has consistently gotten better each year. This year was his best year by far. He had 646 yards on 28 catches with 10 touchdowns. And I think there's a span there. He touched the ball 7 times for 7 touchdowns, so that's pretty impressive. He was one of those guys that if he had the ball in his hands, you knew something good was going to happen. That's just who Wyatt was. He's done some great things over the years and has been a great role model for these younger guys. He's definitely made this program better over the 4 years that he's been here. we're going to miss having him around, and we know he's going to do some great things going forward. That was Wyatt Spring Camp. Next one up, Mr. Homecoming King, Jack Farlow, come on up. So at the end of last year, and looking into this year, last year we graduated and all-state running back, and looking into this year, I knew those shoes weren't going to be hard to fill because we knew what we had in Jack. We knew he was capable of providing for us, and obviously he didn't disappoint when he came into the year. He came in and gave us everything we were looking for in a running back. If you ever watched Jack play, obviously you have on Fridays. He's a physical downhill runner, and at the end of every play, he's one to punish somebody. Now, when it came to practice, Jack probably wasn't the most exciting guy when it came to practice, but you knew at 7 o'clock on Friday, you knew what you were going to get. You were going to get someone that was ready to show up and play his heart out, and he gave it everything he had. It was like he flipped a switch on Friday at 7. He was a different kid. I think as a coach and staff, we could all say that Jack has grown and matured so much over the past 4 years that he's been in this program. From giving life advice to some of our younger guys, and to being that vocal leader within the locker room and also out on the field. Probably one of the toughest kids I've been around as a coach. I mean, you look at the end of the Dexter game, and he rolled his ankle there towards the end, and talked to Tyler after the game, and he said it's not good. So first thing to go, is he going to be able to play Friday against Park Hills? And Jack rolls in on Monday, still limping, didn't practice. Rolls in on Tuesday, still limping at practice, didn't practice. And I still knew, I'm like, it's Jack. There's a valid chance that he's going to play because that's just who he is. He's that big of a competitor. And as I'm getting in my car Tuesday, he said, "Coach, I'm practicing tomorrow." And I'm like, "You can barely walk." Sure enough, he came out Wednesday, practiced, still couldn't put 100% of his weight on it. But you knew that when Friday rolled around, Jack was going to be out there playing. I wasn't sure what he was going to be able to give us, but it was the same old Jack that we had all year. Tough runner, runs downhill, put everything on the line just like Jack would. In high school, if you have a running back that can achieve 1,000 yards rushing in a season, they've had a great season. This year, Jack had right at 1,200 yards rushing with 16 touchdowns, which is a phenomenal season as a running back. In my mind, those are all state numbers to me, and I hope he deserves everything that he gets reward-wise, and obviously we won't see that until those things come out, but whatever you do get award-wise, Jack, you deserve every bit of it, bud. Overall, we're going to miss having Jack around and the energy he provides every day. It's going to be hard filling the shoes and the leadership he provided throughout the season. And then again, in addition, Jack was nominated for a Goon of the Year award. Like Coach Pope said earlier, this award goes to somebody who epitomizes St. John football, just a tough individual who gives everything they have and lays it on the line week in and week out, and that was Jack Farlow. So congratulations.
I'm going to be talking about Aiden Meyer. I'm very similar to Coach Schwint in the fact that there's a good chance that I get emotional up here. So to keep me covered up, if I can get the starting offensive line to come stand in front of me, that would be wonderful. Come on up. Need Warren right in the middle. I'm going to be the quarterback tonight.
Hurry up, Warren, let's go.
Jack is probably really thankful that he got to run behind this. As far as Luke Ferranto goes, he probably could not see over this. But that's okay. All right, so talking about Aiden Meyer, Aiden was a player that took every practice, every lift, every play with his absolute best effort and intensity. I quickly admired Meyer's work ethic whenever I came in June. I noticed that he was one, I believe maybe even the only skill guy that separated himself from that skill position in the weight room and decided that he was going to go lift with the big boys and lift with the linemen. So he really was pushing himself to get better every single day. Aiden's constant attitude of the we not me that we preach when blocking for his teammates constantly forced our coaching staff to find a way to reward him with actually getting him the football. On the defensive side of the ball, this part's pretty simple to express with Meyer. He consistently stepped up to the challenge of guarding some of the best athletes from schools on our schedule. His determination and team mindset led me to strongly believe that Meyer will continue to be successful in life, in his career after high school, and also athletics if given the opportunity to do so at the collegiate level. That's Aiden Meyer.
All right, next guy is Brian Schwint. B. Bryant has done something that very few St. Genevieve high school players have done, and he's had a position on the varsity team all 4 years. That's something I can't speak on enough. I've been a freshman coach for a long time, and luckily we only got him pulled for being a kicker. Usually it's like, gosh, you're taking my best lineman, my best skills guy. I was happy I got to still be around Bryant every single day. He's been extremely impressive in what he's done throughout his career as a kicker. He set the record for PATs made, and I know there's plenty of more. He could have set that record way higher if we had chosen to just go for one instead of two at times. I know his mom was like, kick it. Here in the crowd sometimes. And if you don't know, that was a really spot-on impression. Yeah. As good of a kicker as he has been, I always enjoyed watching him kick it and then still make the tackle himself. With many kickers, you kind of worry about their toughness and what happens if they're the last person there to save a touchdown. And I can just picture every single time this happened, Bryant going up, chopping his feet, and just putting a shoulder pad right in their shins. And he made the tackle every single time. Pound for pound, he's probably one of the tougher kids I've ever coached. Something that will never show up on a stat sheet or on a program is the amount of heart that a player has. These past few years, I've reflected, lost my spot, sorry. These past few weeks, I've reflected on the season a bit, and I've told Bryant this. I think all parents and younger players need to hear it too. If you watched our whole season throughout, you definitely would have noticed that as the weeks went by, Bryant got less and less playing time. This was mainly based on the fact that he thrives in zone coverage defensively, and we had to match up man-to-man a lot of the time towards the end of the year, and that just didn't really bode well for him. With that being said, it killed me to see a kid who does everything right, just not being able to contribute like I know he wanted to. But here's what I want everybody to hear. Like I spoke about his mom, never once did Alyssa ever say anything to me in the lunchroom about it. Never once did Bryant ever complain. Never once did he take it out on his teammates. Actually, the opposite. He pushed his teammates. I saw him make Isaiah Bosler a better player. Never once did he come to practice or a game with a bad attitude. Never once did he do that. He just kept coming. He just kept coming with a smile on his face. He kept coming to practice and having awesome conversations with me. Thanks, I was going to get emotional, now I won't. Brian just kept coming and doing anything he could to help the team. And in the last game, he had two interceptions, and I thought that just epitomized like what happens when you keep doing things the right way. To end your football career at St. John with 2 picks, I thought that was perfect for him. I think a lot of this young man and his character, I hope he knows how much he has meant to me in this program, because I'm going to miss him a lot. Can't wait to see what you do the rest of the year, and hopefully someday you give me a ride in that plane of yours. Just stop biting your dang knuckles. Like, that's my only thing. You can do better. On top of all that, I think you can see why he would be the winner of this award. To me, this is the best you can say about a person in this program, and this is our loyal Andrew Marzuko Loyal and True Award winner this year.
I'm slightly grateful Bonnell stepped down to 8th grade for family purposes, because I'm pretty sure I would have lost the fight with him over Gabe Willett. So I'm going to speak on Gabe. Gabe's a multi-sport athlete for our school. He's worked very hard for a football program, and he's earned himself a special place in my heart throughout the past few years of watching him grow as a football player and a person. The St. John football program was grateful to have Gabe at a linebacker position, and the similarity that I feel Gabe and I had a lot in common with regards to football was he wanted to spend every snap possible playing defense. Even whenever at times he was needed for offense, he would go, but it was still like, am I going to be healthy enough to play defense? And that's just the kind of kid and mindset that he had. He wanted to hit people and he wanted to have fun doing it, and that's one thing that football provides. So, nor did he miss many snaps throughout the season on defense. Gabe is someone who doesn't really need to be seen or have his name up in the lights with anything he does. He just goes about his business on and off the field. He earned himself a starting linebacker spot his junior season and continued to grow into a great linebacker for the Dragon football program the last couple of years. He led the team in tackles this season and was always in pursuit of the football, which embodies a key pillar of our defense. He's always resilient and found ways to do very special things on the defensive side of the football. When Gabe sets his mind to stuff and accomplishing any task, he'll be able to get it done to the best of his ability. I'm grateful for the opportunity to coach Gabe. And Gabe, please know that we're always here for you if you need anything, buddy. Best of luck with your upcoming wrestling season, and I'm hoping to see you on the state podium. Thank you. Love you, buddy.
I'm going to be talking about senior Caden Smith. For those of you that do not know, or you may be unaware, Caden has already joined and attended Army basic training over this last summer. Caden's absence over the summer forced him to kind of miss out on some of the learning pieces of football as far as installing the X's and O's on both of our offense and defense. Having said that, when Caden returned to the team, he was always very eager to do whatever was asked of him. I think that if he would have been asked in the middle of the week to play line on offense or defense, I think that he would have took on that role and probably done a really good job at that. I believe on this team, Caden played a really crucial role, and what that was being a mentor to some of our younger football players. He really displayed excellence and was a great role model to some of these younger classmen. As an Army veteran myself, I know the Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. These were all made concrete in Caden's mind last summer at basic training. Caden, every day at practice, and on Friday night, he put these values on display, start to finish this season. Great job this year, Caden, and more importantly, I want to thank you for your service.
Back up to talk about another inside backer that's pretty special to me, Justin Schwenk. Justin's a very special person to me who's dedicated a lot of time for the St. Jenny football program the last several years. His character and mannerisms are some of the best I've coached, and as a testament to his selflessness, early on in his football career, he played offensive guard because it was in the best interest of the team, and that's just what the kind of person he is. He essentially put in enough work to earn himself a starting linebacker role his senior season. He played some running back snaps as well for us. He stayed passionate and bought into the core beliefs of our defense and made a really great linebacker for us. Anytime things weren't going smooth defensively, he'd always come up the field and want to know what we needed to do better as a team to have success. So him, Gabe, and I would sit on the sideline with the iPad. It looked like we were probably playing video games or something, but we were trying to schematically make stuff happen to where good things would happen on defense. And that's just the heart of the defense, and those two linebackers are and the testament to what they've done. It's extremely humbling to have coached people like Justin on the football team. He led the team in sacks this season, and we even celebrated a defensive touchdown off a block punt during our homecoming game against R7. His energy is contagious, and his work ethic will take him to great places in his life. Keeping you, bud, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to coach you this year. I'm looking forward to what you can do on the wrestling mat this winter, and I'm hoping to see you on that state podium as well at the end of the season. Love you, buddy.
I'm going to talk about Mr. Aiden. Aiden was a first-year player for us. I feel like St. Jen's got this tradition of every year we're going to get a senior out and try football for the first time. And Aiden was one of those guys for us this year. We weren't really sure what we were going to get. I didn't meet him until just after last Christmas. I got to know him a little bit. What I found out is he's a great human being. He's a great kid. And when he came out to summer camp and we got to know him even better, we found out that he was a really hard worker. And, whatever task you put in front of him, he was going to give his best effort each and every time. And, the way it played out, Aiden, didn't get a lot of playing time. We feel like, had he played 4 years, he probably would have developed into a really, really good football player just because of his hard work and his effort and his integrity. More than anything, again, much like Coach Moore said about Caden, I think he was a really good mentor for some of our younger kids, and he was a great role model with his actions, with that hard work, and never complained, never did anything negative when he, as a senior, could have and said, how come I'm not getting playing time? He never did that. He did something that was hard, played football for the first time as a senior. He went through something uncomfortable, summer camp for the first time, giving it his all. That's part of what this whole deal is about. And Aiden is a perfect example of somebody that can grow through sport and, you not have success on the field, but still grow as a human being. And that's the testament to what we want this deal to be about. And Aiden is one of those guys we're super proud that have come through here. And again, I think he set a great example of a young man who gave it his all each and every single day and did it the right way. And we're very grateful for Aiden for choosing to play football. I think as coaches, especially for myself, it really made me reflect on how we evaluate players and really evaluate how to get people more involved. The hardest deal about this is you've got 70+ kids, and in the highest of high emotions, it's hard to get everybody involved. It's hard to get everybody their fair shake. And when you have a young man like Aiden who's not going to, raised his voice about, not getting in, and those slip through the cracks, and in hindsight, he's forced us to be better as coaches in that regard. So again, we thank Aiden for all his hard work and just being a great teammate and a great member of this program this season. So thank you, Aiden.
I don't have kids nearly as young as Mr. Schwint. Just gonna warn you, when my kids heard that we lost our last game, they weren't nearly as excited about football as we were. I think my 14-year-old said, "Took that big L, huh, Dad?" So enjoy it while it lasts. I've got two guys, and I was planning on bringing them up together, so I'm going to do that. I have Nathan Johnson and Wyatt Kimber. So you guys come on up. So I was happy to get these two, because then I figured I could make fun of them a little bit. Last year, Nathan and Wyatt, I'd like to call it a love-hate relationship they had. It was like, oh, they loved each other sometimes and hate each other. It's like, no, they literally loved to hate each other. That was their relationship. Weekly, getting in fights during offense when Kemper was on Scout Team D, picking at each other, cussing at each other. Allegedly, there may have been a boxing match that took place. Allegedly. So it wasn't a cruel joke that we put them next to each other. It just was kind of happenstance that they ended up next to each other. But I think it really helped them play next to somebody, 12 games, full season. They were there the whole summer. So there was kind of a bond there that I hope those two will be able to share for a lifetime. Nathan, obviously our spiritual leader. I think he's said the prayer the last 4 years probably at the banquet. Said it before every game. Not just a good kid though, he's a great football player. Probably not going to miss the random questions. The linemen know. We'll definitely miss his work ethic, toughness, leadership. I was looking at this, and this is pretty impressive for the senior class. Nate was a starter for 23 wins on the varsity level. That's a lot of wins for 3 years. As a lineman, he helped block for almost 7,000 yards of rushing in 3 years. That's a lot of rushing yards. Just overall, his determination, faith, positive attitude, they're going to help him succeed in any future endeavors. Wyatt had a little different path. I'm just repeating what he said. Don't be mad at me, but man, shares me. I'm not going to get the grade exactly right, but Kimber said he weighed more in like 4th or 5th or 6th grade than he does now. Right, Kimber? Yes. Okay. So he had to lose some bad weight to get some good weight, but that made him a much better athlete. So he wasn't ready to be a starter his sophomore and junior year, but he had to put in a lot of time in the weight room, which he's done. And his athleticism helped him tremendously. Like I said, had to catch up. Fortunately, we weren't sure. Is he going to be able to handle this his senior year? Stepped right in at right tackle this year. And honestly, he was one of those guys that maybe should have been playing after the Tosa game. Underneath. And his knees were bad after the Tosa game. He had one injured, then he ended up with another one injured. And I don't know that he should have been playing, but he wasn't going to quit. He knew he only had 12 shots at it. As many until we ended the season. He only had 1 year at it. And he was like, I'm not quitting. I'm not stopping. So he stayed with it. I think his athleticism from transforming his body helped him be able to battle through just being pretty wobbly out there. Just hard work. A little too much passion at times. He'd get himself in trouble. But that hard work, that passion, that's going to help him be successful in whatever he does in life. I appreciate you guys. You go through a lot. You get a lot of boring cherry talks. But I appreciate you guys.
All right, first up, fellow WDN, Dalton McBride. In all honesty, if I was creating a mold of what I considered a St. John football player and what he would look like, I believe I would start with Dalton McBride. Not the most gifted or the biggest when he wound up on Friday nights, but he always almost can't get you always. Dalton used every ounce of what God gave him to be the best he could be at offensive tackle and whatever position we decided to put him at on defense. Never once in the 3 years that Coach Sherry and I coached him did we ever have to question his effort. And that means a lot. I hope Dalton walks away from St. John football with the same sense of pride and accomplishment of what these other seniors do, and then some. And much like the rest of these guys, I will really miss coaching Dalton. I think I mentioned it before. I've been coaching these guys since they were in 8th grade. Some of them still have the same face they did in 8th grade. And also, along with the other accomplishments that you may receive after this, I would like to also give you the Hall Award for the year. We all decided that you were much deserving and that not a better steward than you for that award. So, thanks, Dalton. All right, last but not least, Aiden White. So as I mentioned, I coached these guys since 8th grade. That includes Aiden, and his first time, I believe, ever seeing a football field or ever hearing of a football field or anything related to football. In fact, I think he was lost the day that he showed up for football that day. He has come a very long way. I'll never forget our first conversation of trying to get him to understand what down and distance and everything that goes along with football. But once he started to figure it out, there was no denying that Aiden had a place on the football field. As he developed as a player, he found his position group inside the ball on defense. In high school, Aiden has always had a significant value to the team from freshman year through his senior year. Coming up big against Park Hills his freshman year on the defensive stand to win the game, and moving on to be a 3-year varsity leatherman at various positions. I can honestly say there are not many, if any, teams in the area that would not love to have Aiden White lining up at defensive end for them on Friday nights. I'm really going to miss Aiden's calm demeanor on Fridays and business attitude during the week, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Just wrap this up real fast. One last message for the seniors. You know, we kind of told you Friday, you know, this isn't the end of our support party. You know, the term coach doesn't leave when you guys leave. We're always going to be here for you guys for whatever you need. And, you know, the same message we always say, if you're a Dragon football player, today, tomorrow, forever, you never have to walk alone. So if you need something, find us. We love you guys, and we thank you for everything you've done for your program and your school and your community. So thank you. Thank you, seniors, tremendously.
All right, just a couple more minutes before we take off. The last thing that we'll do is draw for the banners and the 50-50 for the evening. But before we do that, I want to take just a minute to thank the Schweigerts and the McBrides for your help at football games with cooking the grilling. You guys, I look forward to getting a hamburger from you guys every home football Friday night as part of my tradition. You guys do a great job, and I do it on a volunteer basis. And also I want to thank the McGanos for working 50-50 at all the home football games. They volunteer their time as well. Anybody who won an award tonight, football, cheer, Emeralds, if you got one of the team awards, we're going to take your picture out in the commons as groups. We'll take a football picture, cheer picture, and an Emeralds picture, okay? So don't take off. stick around, we'll do it over by the trophy case here in the Commons. And then whenever all conference, all district, and all state and all that stuff comes out, all region, we'll get you guys together and take your pictures for that as well. So, really quick on the 50-50. If you have the winning ticket, just bring it up after we're done here. 30, 40, 50, 60. $70 to the winner here. Winner of 50-50. I'll read the number. Like I said, if you win, you don't have to come grab it right now in front of everybody if you don't want to. You can just come grab it right afterward. 50-50 winner is 354 0909. 354 0909. The banners. Okay, if you want them, if I pull your name and announce your name, grab the banner on the way out. If I don't call your name, don't grab the banner on the way out. The dance banner goes to Olivia Kirchner. Olivia, you can grab it on the way out. The cheer banner goes to Savannah DeRouche. There's a lot of football ones in here. And the winner of the football banner goes to Pinkley, Talon Pinkley. Award winners, stick around for pictures.